The Unlovely Truth discusses what happens at the intersection of faith and true crime, so some of our topics may be difficult for young or sensitive listeners. Please use discretion. All of us have a deep desire to be known, to have others value who we are at our core. Our story today involves the death of a woman who is only known in death as Delta Jane Doe. Authorities in Isleton, California hope that they can discover who she was in life. They need your help to be able to do that. I'm Lori Morrison, and I want to welcome you to Season 2, Episode 11 of The Unlovely Truth. This month has an extra Tuesday, so I'm going to use the opportunity to share another mini-episode where you might be able to help solve a mystery. Delta Jane Doe has people who are missing her and are desperate to know what became of her. According to the Murder Accountability Project, which puts together data from the FBI's Uniform Crime Report, California has the most unsolved homicides and cold cases in the country. That's not really surprising, since they are the most populous state in the U.S., but it's still not a statistic you want to be the leader in. There are just under 41,000 cold cases in California from 1980 to 2019. That adds up to a huge amount of people who are in a state of limbo, not knowing what happened to a missing or murdered loved one. Delta Jane Doe was found near dusk on March 29, 2008, off Tyler Island Road near Isleton, California. A fisherman called 911 to report that he had found bones underneath a discarded box spring. Sacramento County Sheriff's deputies responded, walking down a pathway to the levee that led them to what was left of her. Vegetation around the box spring suggested that the body was left there several years ago, possibly as far back as the fall of 2004. There was no identification or wallet found with the body. After an autopsy was performed, authorities believe that Delta Jane Doe was between 25 and 35 years old. When she was found, she was wearing a Grateful Dead sweatshirt and a River Delta Fire District sweatshirt. Investigators wondered if she had been in the program or had a connection with someone who had. I wonder if she could have picked it up at a thrift store or maybe a garage sale. But that lead that seemed so promising didn't get them any closer to identifying Delta Jane Doe. DNA was recovered, but it hasn't produced any leads yet either. What's needed now is for someone to come forward with information about a family member or friend who went missing in the area around 2004. Then it's possible that she could be identified. Advances in DNA technology and genetic genealogy give us hope that this case can still be solved, especially if that someone who knows something will come forward with new information. Is the reason that no one has come forward because the last person who saw her was her killer? Help The Unlovely Truth grow by connecting with me on social media. Find me at Facebook at The Unlovely Truth or on Instagram by searching for The Unlovely Truth Podcast. Growing is so important so that together we can serve victims and their families. And you never know, you might even help solve a mystery. Let's get back to the one at hand. Isleton is located in Sacramento County. The population at the 2010 census was 804 people, down from 828 at the 2000 census. It's located on Andros Island, and it's surrounded with wetlands. It was founded way back in 1874 by Josiah Poole. After he had the town platted, he constructed a wharf on the Sacramento River, and a boom town soon developed. One of the primary attractions in Isleton is the Hotel Del Rio. It was built in 1949 and contains one of California's legal card rooms. There was actually a famous legal case that created quite a stir because, although gambling debts are not enforceable at law, if the money you lose falls under California's community property laws, it might be recovered if it can be shown that permission wasn't granted by the other spouse to go out and gamble that money. The case attracted so much attention that crime writer Earl Stanley Gardner wrote one of his famous Perry Mason crime novels loosely based on that. It's called The Case of the Singing Skirt, and you can find a link to buy it in the show notes. Gardner's heroine, Ellen Robb, sings, dances, and sells cigarettes in a card room in what Gardner calls a one-horse town. Her boss wants her to help in a crooked card game, and things only go downhill from there. We know Ellen's story, but because we don't even know Delta Jane Doe's name, we can't know her story. The sheriff's office cleared over 250 names of missing people, and they got hundreds of tips in this case. But we can't write that last chapter unless someone comes forward. The case is complicated by the fact that Isleton doesn't have its own police department. They had budgetary issues and several scandals, including allegations of an officer having sex in a squad car, another officer shooting a dog, and even an officer illegally selling department-issued weapons. The department ended up being disbanded, and the county sheriff handles Delta Jane Doe's investigation. There are internet sleuths on the case, too. They've posted information stating that an anthropological examination indicated that Delta Jane Doe's race was predominantly European with some traces of Asian and African heritage. The exam didn't rule out the possibility that she also had Hispanic heritage. It's believed that when living, Delta Jane Doe stood between 5'1" and 5'8" inches tall. Due to the state of the remains, eye color, hair color, weight, potential tattoos, none of that could be determined. We do know that her teeth, numbers 13, 14, 15, and 19, have silver amalgam fillings. Jewelry was found with the remains as well. She wore a beaded necklace with a crouching frog and a white metal bracelet with green heart charms. Most of her jewelry was white metal and included bangle bracelets and a sword charm. As an investigator, I would really hone in on these pieces as they seem so unique, just like the sweatshirt she was wearing. Remember, it had a logo for the Delta Fire Crew, which is related to River Delta Fire District, a volunteer fire department that covers parts of Isleton. Only between 20 and 30 of these sweatshirts were even made, and only in 2004. That combination of distinctive jewelry and a limited edition sweatshirt is a great lead. Someone who knew Delta Jane Doe in life may recognize that jewelry and the clothing. If you are that someone, please contact authorities at the number I've posted in the show notes. Even if you aren't that someone, you can still help. I need you all to get out of the audience and into the story by sharing this episode and encouraging others to share as well. We have a better chance of identifying this young woman and giving her back her real name when we share her story with as many people as we possibly can. The Unlovely Truth is written and produced by me, Lori Morrison. Music is by Neocortex, and artwork is by Shelby Hyland. Let's help Delta Jane Doe get her true name back. Let's help her family know what happened. Share this episode. Someone out there knows something. See you all next time.